Hello and welcome once again to the cast with your host Dennismary Chidume. It's been a very interesting. It's going to be a very interesting episode. I think one of the things we are seeing this year, or we are aiming at this year here personally for me, is to bring people that has diverse opinions, right? Not just crypto degen opinions, but individuals has kind of real world stories about crypto. And as you know, the cast is brought to you by UK. UK is a Web3 infrastructure as a service company here in Africa, building the enterprise grade infrastructure to help Web3 businesses, services, institutional clients, enterprise scale their Web3 operations. Today, we have one of our partners, customers, and client and friend, colleague, everything put together, Martins. He's going to be having a conversation, going to be talking to us about the experience of being an African outside Africa. Like, what is the banking restrictions? Like, many Africans are seriously on the banks, right? When you leave the country. And today, we're going to be speaking with Martins Chidume, and he's going to be running us through. The topic for this is banking the African diaspora, the dollar access opportunity. So, we're going to be diving deep into the stablecoin conversation around how migrants from Africa, students from Africa, is using this technology to kind of secure the win and save themselves from disgrace. And actually, not just that, survive. The last episode, we talked about how stablecoin was able to help somebody pay a medical bill, time of emergency, and something like that. So you kind of see the real life impact of this technology. I can't just wait longer to introduce him. And from there, we're going to have a conversation around this whole stablecoin adoption, African students in diaspora, and the experience he has felt living in studying in Turkey and having access to banking service. Hi, Martins. Welcome
Hi,
to the podcast.
hi
Can you say
everyone.
hi
Yeah,
to
hi.
the audience?
Yeah. Hi everyone. So, Martins Chidume, Nigerian, lived in Lagos for the first 19 years or 18 years of my life, and I can say, and I've also lived 6 years of my life also here in Turkey, and I can say that I have a very deep understanding of what it is to be a Nigerian, to be an African, and what it also means to also be a Nigerian in the diaspora. So thank you so much, Dennis, for having me here.
Yeah, a Nigerian in diaspora, kind of a Nigerian student also in diaspora, and also a Nigerian in diaspora. And we all know Martin runs SFX, right? SFX is a neobank. He likes to call it the money app for African students or diaspora. It's just like a saving technology, African students and African diaspora, because you never know what life looks like without a bank account or without access to financial service. When you're
True.
totally disconnected entirely from a financial infrastructure, your life is a dookie, kind of messed up already. So yeah, Martins, I think
Yeah.
you want to talk about your like let's just get in and talk about your background,
All right.
and then along the journey of the background, talk about your journey, the inspiration
Yes.
behind SFX. Like just put a person behind, put the picture, a story behind your personality, and yeah, yourself. Yeah, over to you, man.
All right. Yeah. So, well, before I go in deep dive into SFX and what SFX became and what it is about to become now. Sorry. I would say that Martins, I was just a Nigerian student who arrived in North Cyprus, the Turkish Republic of North Cyprus, which is a jurisdiction under Turkey. So I arrived here for the start of my 4 year studies in molecular biology and genetics. So yes, I am a scientist at heart, a geneticist at heart. But I would say that in my in my 6 years here, the biggest and the most difficult thing and the most recurring thing for African students living here is how to get money. How to get money is always a big conversation. too much of a conversation that it becomes a part of a student's everyday life. So you are worrying about how to survive in a new environment where you just arrived as a student. And on your arrival here, after maybe surviving 3 months, 4 months on what your parents gave to you on your way here, you're having to look for money exchangers. That's the next thing. It is, I mean, it is a priority. You get told by your fellow students who have spent older time here that you need to find and identify local money exchangers close to you who can always help you in your time of need anytime you need to get cash. So upon your arrival, you are faced with these hurdles. And I am one person that is very, very familiar with this particular thing, with this particular issue. And I would say that one thing I have noticed here, which we have maintained in our community, is trust. And trust is a very, very big vehicle in which we sometimes survive here. That is a lot of students have to rely on these people, on these persons that they don't know, and they have to just bank that and rely that these persons would provide the cash as at when. So, not being a stranger to this issue, let's say in 2019, before COVID struck properly, my parents, my beautiful parents, they wanted to pay my tuition fee. And they were going to send about $1,000 through Access Bank. And I could remember that it was very, very important to my mom that she was friends with the manager at Access Bank, because it meant that my mom's application for FX through the central bank from A to get FX to send to me to pay for my tuition was going to get approved. The manager was going to make necessity of it, make it very, very important. But that didn't save my mom from experiencing 3 months of waiting for that Form A to get approved so that her son can pay for his tuition so that he can go to school. Because forcing us to use a money exchanger in order to get that FX would require us to pay black market price for that FX. So I think as at then, I think we would have paid, it was like 400. No, it wasn't 400, it was like 500 and something. I can't remember exactly, 500 and something. But through the central bank, we were buying at 420 something. So I remember that there was about 100 naira difference between the black market price and the central bank. And for a Nigerian student who has to pay $1,000 as a tuition fee, that's a lot of money, because we come from a part of the world where our parents don't earn a lot. It's a low income earning country, so we don't earn a lot. So you already afforded to send your child abroad, so you're also struggling with the banking sector in your home country in order to pay for his tuition. And that happened, and I was forced to freeze my academics, and COVID happened. And during COVID, unfortunately, I was sick. I was unable to go to school. I was hit with COVID twice. But during that entire phase, I was learning what the skill set to what would become SFX. Now, for me, I didn't know that I would get to this point when then there was a craze. There was would I call it a drop shipping craze? Well, there was an e-commerce craze in 2020. Commerce industry was trying to recover, and so there was an e-commerce craze. And the students here, myself and my co-founder Obina, we also jumped on that e-commerce craze. But for me, it was a skill learning phase, right? It was a skill learning phase. And in that skill learning phase, I got to learn very integral skills that would shape into what I would use into becoming SFX, basically management and all that product management skills. And come 2023, start of February, myself and my co-founder, Obina and Bernard, we sat down together and we said, let us pool our funds together. Let us start a money exchange service, but we would be offering something different. So I have been fortunate to interact with these money exchanges before. And one thing that I know that's been a problem in city has been time. They don't come on time. They can't process orders on time because sometimes there's a lot of orders, distance, proximity. So we made it a priority to be close to our users, where the market in which we are serving. We said we want to help people like us who have encountered this issue. So it wasn't even technical there. Who have encountered this issue like us to access FX. And they must be close to us. They must be very, very close to us. And our rates, we must get the rates at the best and the cheapest rate we can get. And
Yeah.
that was how,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a very inspiring story, telling. I didn't just really want to cut you, just wanted to frame what you're saying, kind of come in and say, like, like back here in Africa, for some people in the motherland, I know when people tell about the stories of how hard is it for you to get a bank account, especially for somebody for people that have not been like a diaspora or you have not left your home country, it kind of sounds, is that really a problem? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying,
yeah, I
right?
do.
Like, is that really like a problem? Like when I was just listening and I kind of like trying to imagine my head around it because you said about the FX and everything. Just I didn't want to get like, okay, how hard is it for Nigerian students or African students or diaspora students generally to kind of secure a bank account? I think maybe talk a little bit about that and then we jump to the next kind of line of conversation. But that is actually where I just wanted to kind of throw a little bit of light, like with the current
Wow.
institutional infrastructure available, like how hard is it for you to get a bank account so you can, like, because I believe if you have like a Turkish bank account and the Nigerian bank can be able to, like, do something, and like at least you don't need to depend on a merchant to survive. Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Like,
So I think somewhere in the conversation, I think I kind of jumped the storyline. But I would say this, yes, moving on to the point. For a Nigerian student like me coming here, right, in 2017, now it wasn't difficult to open a bank account. I will say this. It wasn't difficult. Now, the main issue was getting funds from home. Now, 2017, 18, 19, 2019, Turkey encountered an issue. So the government was investigating a lot of issues regarding fraud, regarding students, especially foreign students, being intermediaries for fraud. So they were fraudulent actors all over the world. In Turkey, in some parts of the world, were utilizing these students as intermediaries to move fraudulent funds.
oh, okay, that's the
And
reason why, like, you guys have issues. Like, that's the
yeah,
compliance reason that made.
exactly. So come 2019, the
Okay,
government said, you know what, we
okay,
will put restrictions in order for these students to open a bank account.
interesting. So, what are the restrictions that they put in
So
place?
so now you have cases where banks are saying, you know what, it is too expensive for us to monitor these students. So this policy is therefore no bank accounts. Some banks outrightly do not open bank accounts. Now, for some banks, few banks that open bank accounts, for example,
Mhm.
Türkiye is Bankasi, that's one of them. They require that student to make a 1,000 US dollars credit deposit before they are allowed to open a bank
This
account.
credit deposit, can you like transact with it,
No, you
or
can't touch it.
is it always going to
It
be in
is
the
when
account?
you want to close the account, the day you decide that you want to close the bank account, yeah, you
Like,
would,
so the money is going to always be in the account.
yes, basically.
So you have
Basically.
like $1,000 that you're supposed to actually be using to be eating,
Yeah,
for you to
exactly.
stash
For your
that
tuition,
stash
exactly.
as credit.
Yes, for other
Okay.
thing, exactly.
That sounds very interesting. Well, it's actually very nice to hear that regulation was actually what evolved to see what we are seeing right now.
Yeah. You must even have heard of the FATF warning to Turkey in 2019 regarding the fact that the Turkish government was not doing a lot, you
Mhm.
understand, to combat terrorism financing and money laundering and all that stuff. So
Yeah, okay. I get.
basically, it was basically what caused the downgrading in 2021. One of the reasons, basically. So
That's
this were
crazy.
one of those things, you understand,
Yeah,
that played out in 2019,
that's
basically.
crazy. Okay, I think you've kind of mentioned something about the issues. I always wanted you to kind of like make a mental story of like what a student faces. You talked about when a student comes and like, can you like, because before we get into the stablecoin story, don't talk about that yet. Just if you can like tell the audience like, okay, what is the normal daily life routine of a diaspora student from Africa in Turkey? Like from like when it comes to cash transactions, like what is the daily routine like
Yeah.
without SFX?
All right. So without SFX, basically my daily routine, right? Without SFX. So you have a situation where, like I said, right? Let us talk about the daily routine post 2019, right? So 2017, for those who came 2017 and who did open
No,
a bank
like
account,
talk about
who
the
did,
current.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay. Yes, to talk. Maybe look at it from this angle. People that have a bank account, no need to kind of post. Or people that have a bank account, people that were able to get a bank account, and people that were not able to get a bank account. Just the
all
two
right,
scenario. Like first of all, I think we should start with people that be able to get a bank account, and then
all right,
people that
awesome,
were unable to get a bank account.
all right. So,
Thank you.
so people that were able to get a bank account would basically be myself. The typical daily scenario for myself would be, if I want to receive funds from my parents, it would be two times in a year, right? Twice in a year, basically, because you want to make sure that you save up money for transfer fees. Transfer fees can be very, very, very high. About transfer fees can cost about 10% of the total amount, 10 to 15% of how much they want to send basically to you. So if they want to send for me like $1,000, then through Access Bank, it would say it would cost like around $81, $91. So it was very, very expensive. So you want to do it twice in a year. So they would send for tuition and they would calculate for feeding. And let's say I would say for myself, average of $200 in a month. So they would say, okay, for tuition for this following month till we send the next one, it's calculated down. And then the tuition for that period is also calculated down. So you send it once, at that time. So you save up for transfer fees so that, you don't have to spend money sending money a lot of times. So that was basically the typical scenario for when there was that access. And then when there was no longer access, so I am basically, my day-to-day life was basically like a student who doesn't have a Turkish bank account, even though I did have a bank account. So basically, it is, you have every day you want to receive money for your day-to-day expenses, even for tuition. For your day-to-day expenses, maybe you want to pay for something, a bill, or you want to eat, you have to call an exchanger. So you have to like a peer-to-peer. So basically it's peer-to-peer. So you have to find a friend who knows someone who has Turkish lira and that will receive naira. So that person officially is not an exchanger, it's just a person who needs naira and he has Turkish lira. And then he tells you a black market rate, right? He just calculates something and tells you, and then I call my parents and my parents would send the naira to his account. And then he would spend like an average of 1 hour, 2 hours to come to my home. Then he will give me the cash. So basically, it's like a day-to-day interaction. So it is like it's the interaction then converted to at a need base. So it was basically when I needed cash, when I needed money for something, I then used that peer to peer. It was
Okay,
so
hold
I
on. Is your
yeah,
mom sending the money to? We don't have a bank account. Is
yeah.
the mom
So
is sending the money to like the merchant, or is sending the money to you? Like
oh
who are they
so,
sending the money to?
so there was no need to send it to my Naira account. It's just I would just tell the person, please provide me your Naira account, and then I
Hold on,
send it
like
to my parents.
hold on. Okay, now it's kind of like a. I don't know if you know about Hawala. they now
Yeah, exactly. So
send the money to the guy in Nigeria. The guy
yeah,
in
the entire
Nigeria,
trust network. Yeah, basically,
the
that
guy
was
has
what it was.
somebody in Ghana there that
It
helps
is
in
big.
sorry,
Yeah, it is
and
big.
then in Turkey that the person now carries money and give you fiscal cash. Yeah.
It is very, 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 very,
Okay.
very, very
So like,
big.
have there been any issues of fraud with that kind of something like somebody didn't get the money they were promised to get,
Yeah.
expected to get or something?
Now, yeah, you find those cases, right? But very rare, very, very rare. So it's like
So
some
now,
people.
why is this current system like inefficient? Like that infrastructure, like why is it like inefficient currently? Like the Hawala something, like why is it like very inefficient?
So you have a system where it is a need demand. So if there's an availability conversation. So if it depends now on if the person has Turkish lira, you understand, and if he's close to you. So you have to juggle with proximity of yourself between yourself and the individual who you want to liaise with. That's the
Oh,
first
okay. You
one.
have to like travel to go and meet the
Mhm.
person.
And then you also have to worry about trust. So imagine basically for most people like me, right? I wouldn't say the individual name, but when I first came, the person I was introduced to, immediately the issues began. I had to, worry about, can I trust this person? So I want to send my tuition that my parents struggle to get 1,200 in naira to them, to the person. So can I trust them? Then the person was telling me that they were literally 30 minutes away from where I am staying. And 30 minutes away here is a distance, like it's somewhere. So 30 minutes also. So I have to worry about transportation to meet them in order to get the cash that I need. And then time, try to fit in the entire schedule into my life
Yeah,
as a student.
that's crazy. Well, I kind of what it is, right? The need for USD accounts, the craziness, because in all these things, I think the audience can even affirm, and what we're hearing is like we need like a USD. If there is any means that how the students, because the parents sending the money is converting the money off naira to USD, and then the money is going through the USD, coming to you as a USD, not like as a Turkish lira. Even if it comes to you as a Turkish lira through the merchant, it somehow at some point was quoted in USD because it's all about
Exactly.
USD. And
USD.
yeah, that brings me to the next conversation because it's all clear to us that stablecoins is something that can actually solve this problem, not can
Exactly.
solve this problem heavily. And like, like with the SFX, somebody just load it with fiat and then get access to stablecoins and then move it around.
Exactly.
So for somebody that doesn't know what Hawala is like a local money transfer system that allows people to use P2P, person to person, to move money. Let's say I have an operator in Nigeria. I'm in Turkey and I have an account in Nigeria. And then somebody sends me 5,000 naira from my Nigerian account. I take that 5,000 naira with my Nigerian account. It's going to be my Nigerian account. Oh. Then I now give somebody money in Turkey from my Turkish account. So what happens is I have to find a way as a business person to
Yes.
convert that my 5,000 naira
Exactly.
and bring it to Turkey. So
Exactly.
as a business person, so that's like kind of very complex. But what SFX is kind of doing is they're kind of like, you know what, fuck it. You just script everything out and then you don't need to like interact with this because it's actually, what will I say, like the last time we talked about frictionless rails. Okay, how can this money move faster? You don't need to wait for a long period of time. If you're a business, you don't need to wait a long period of time to settle. If you're a student, you don't need to wait for a long period of time because it takes time somehow. So SFX, can you talk, like maybe run me through like how you guys providing the dollar access opportunity just snappy to students in Turkey? Like how you guys leveraging stablecoin currently? Like what has the impact been? Are you guys leveraging stablecoin to solve the problem of this cross-border payments for students? And yeah, just
Yeah.
driving a little bit into that, and then
All
we
right.
jump to the
Awesome.
next topic.
All right. Awesome. So yeah. So I would say that basically one of the reasons that influence SFX and the route in which we took in order to process students' payments was basically the face of cryptocurrency in and the adoption in Turkey as well as the Turkish Republic of North Cyprus. So if most people don't know this, Turkey actually has about 53% crypto adoption. So 53% of Turkish population actually custody cryptocurrency, and about 70 something percent, 70 to 75% of the population have actually transacted using cryptocurrency. So if you come to Turkey, the common occurrence you find in Istanbul, in other cities, in Gazimagusta, in Iskele, you find cryptocurrency shops, like physical cryptocurrency exchange shops where a user goes and you scan a QR code of
Maybe do you like really get the question I was talking about? Like,
yeah,
how are you guys leveraging stablecoins at SFX to kind of solve? How is stablecoin playing a role in SFX to kind of
I'm getting there.
solve remittance for African students? Maybe think,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm getting there. So basically, right, it was a situation of SFX did myself and my co-founder went into research about stable coins and cryptocurrencies, basically to understand how they work. Basically, since this is what we are seeing around us, so we want to know what is this that we are seeing? What is it all about? And we found we discovered out about USDT. We found out that USDT was actually widely accepted here. USDC on TRC20 widely accepted here. So basically, the biggest hurdle for us was, okay, how can we get USDT? So if we can get USDT, we can solve the problem of getting US dollars and Turkish lira at ease. So USDT is the solution. So we went into research into chain platforms that we could, utilize in order to get USDT. So first we actually discovered Binance, and we actually discovered that you could this was early to Binance, and you could swap that naira to USDT on Binance, basically. So we figured that out. So the next phase was we need to get a Naira account. So we obtained the Naira account, and we owned a Binance account that was tied to that Naira account, and also a Binance account that was tied to my Turkish Lira bank account here. So the process basically was, so I have two choices. Either I go to a crypto exchange, right, to off ramp this USDT and get cash, or I send it to my bank account. So immediately we figured out the hoops of moving from Naira to the stable coin, to a stable coin, to USDT. Actually, that's USDT is actually what we have been transacting on. To USDT, we basically began to help. First, it was students that we know, my friends. It was actually my friends. They were all in my home the first time I did the first transaction for 3 students. It was actually to pay for, one was tuition, 2 were rent. Their parents actually called and they said, can you do this? $500 and something dollars. I said, yes, we can. So they sent the Naira to our bank account, and we basically sent it to using Binance. We basically use Binance, and on Binance, we utilize basically the peer-to-peer network on Binance. It was basically another person that Binance had already verified. The institution had already verified and gone through the process of verify them, and then we send money to them, and then they release USDT to the Binance accounts, basically. And so that was our first experience with stable coins. Actually, the first time we actually used stable coins was actually to solve this specific problem. We said, oh, we can actually use this thing to solve this problem. And from then on forth, it was a thing where we began to now focus on trust, developing trust in the community, ensuring them that we can provide this cash at a faster rate, because we now have a more transparent way of getting the FX. We can assure you, I can tell you as a student that, okay, in 30 minutes, you are assured that you get US dollars. And I have 2 avenues to get the US dollars, from a cryptocurrency shop or from my bank account, just because I discovered how to move from my local currency Naira to the stablecoin USDT. Once I moved to USDT, I was able to unlock a host of other fiat currencies.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I think you actually explained it very clearly. But I just want to get into like the technology you guys are using right now, building out your products, like what role is stablecoin playing? You've kind of answered how it's playing on an operational level. For the average student that is your customer, probably that might be listening to this conversation, like how is this stablecoin stuff that you guys are doing on SFX? How is it going to like affect their life?
Yeah. So basically, the previous method I was speaking to you about, we were basically doing it for 11 months. And through that 11 months, we discovered that not just Nigerian students have.
Hold on, within that 11 months, how many students have you guys served?
So we basically have served about 100, in specific 124 students.
Okay, and how much have you guys done in volume? Maybe you
Uh,
want to say that in
uh,
naira.
okay, so let's say in stablecoins is actually, so in stablecoins we have actually processed 180 something thousand US dollars in stablecoins.
So you guys have processed over 100,000 US dollars,
Yes,
and you guys
yes,
are using these stable coins for the students. The students
yes.
send the money for like
Tuition, day-to-day
tuition, bill payment. So like
expenses,
it's kind of
yes,
like condenses their life, kind of
yes.
gives them a
We
whole
are in
life
their
like
life
it.
every day.
And
Yeah,
you guys, they never left, right?
yeah,
It kind of becomes
exactly.
they never left home, and it becomes like a bank account. Kind of
Thank you.
issue them a USD account they could never get with current financial institutions. I think this is actually a very powerful story. Like the way it's been looked at and the way people think of it. Like I've always believed stablecoin to be a barrier breaker, and I've always believed that borders doesn't need to limit money in the age of the internet,
Yeah,
right? The dollar access opportunity is kind of like because that's the reason why we call it like the dollar access opportunity because students need to be able to have as a diaspora at this modern age, you need to be able to have access to funds. You need to be able to have access to US dollars. It's very important because of the global trade infrastructure. The structure around the USD and then the US dollar or something like that. Like you need to have the dollars to transact. And here we have stable coins helping people to be able to make that possible without not
yes,
having to jump up the hoop or kill yourself. Like, or, that kind of something. Like, the experiences you explained before, how crazy it was to just get some certain things done. And how with stablecoin, how easy it has been in Turkey. I think that's the new name, Turkey, or something like that. So it kind of sells the whole story for SFX for me, right? And it's actually one of the biggest reasons why we're working with them internally at UK. Kind of maybe a support, give them that infrastructure of support. And maybe you want to talk a little bit about how UK have helped you guys quickly. Like you don't really want to like lay into that, just quickly how UK have be able to help you guys to kind of figure out how to use stable coins on a very higher level to kind of shift things faster for
yeah,
African students. I kind of on a UX level, like user experience level, make things better. Just take it away, man. Just quickly,
yeah.
we can
So
around it.
basically, for us, my one goal as a student, right, has always been to. Now, I will say this: I have managed to be one of the very few who have still been banked by the Turkish banking system. So I know the experience of what it is to control your own money. So our entire goal was to actually give the students the power, like to experience the power of money in their hands, to control their own affairs, their own funds and finances. And our goal was to build out what we currently do and what we currently serve manually, now put it in the hands of every Nigerian student and also every African student that struggles with sending money abroad with the high fees regime in Africa. So our goal was to put it in their hands, and we reached out to UK, fortunately, and I'm very grateful that we did actually reach out to you guys because we did a lot of research on how can we solve this problem? How can we put it in their hands? We already knew that we wanted to use stable coins. There was no going back. Stable coins was ease, the fees, low fees with stable coins. You didn't have to spend so much on fees. That was the first thing that I noticed when I was sending USDT. It was $1. It was so easy, so cheap. And the acceptability was so much. So we said we want to give that same experience to the students. And we reached out to UK after doing a lot of preliminary research. And we said to UK, this is the problem in which we currently face. We want to give them the capability. Now, I was coming in as a layman, right, who didn't understand technicalities. But I said, we want to give the user, the student, the capability to do what? To move from their local currency to the USDT with ease, the same experience. We don't want them to go through the same learning curve we had to go through with Binance in order to learn how to use P2P and other, to the anxiety we always had to face anytime someone didn't release money funds on time, and we always had to appeal. We didn't want that experience. So eliminate that experience, give them an on-ramp experience in which they will move from their local currency to the USDT, the first capability, and also give them the capability to be able to walk into any crypto exchange in Turkey, in Turkish Republic of North Cyprus, and withdraw and send USDT for a very little fee, $1, and get cash and get fiat and go on with their daily life. So basically, have 100% control over their daily life, their daily expenses as at when they want to spend their money, and also give them a chance to hold money in US dollars. So they don't always have to worry about exchange rates. Today, the Naira is currently 1,400 and something. So if a student had the opportunity to have bought the Naira at 1,200 and something and kept it, they would have taken that opportunity. I would have taken that opportunity. And that is the opportunity we are offering them with UK.
Interesting. I think it makes a lot of sense. I happen to work at UK as well. You kind of like, because when you heard about the SFX theory, one of the things that intrigued us so well was actually the pain. Like, there's so much pain in this niche market. It's not just about the fantastic idea of the stable coins. It's just the pain that students have to go through just to live their daily lives. I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? Something has to be done about this. It took a lot of edging and a lot of work to actually figure this thing out, right? And I think one of the things we learned with working with SFX is the pain that stablecoin solves. We cannot really, it's a technology, it's simple to wrap our head around it. But this is something that affects our daily lives. It really affects somebody's health, education. You can't be able to eat because these students depend on the money sent from home to eat. They are not working. And this is something stablecoin comes in to solve. So it kind of like the impact for me is kind of very massive. Like, how do you even want to define it? Like, how do you actually want to define it? You can't quantify it, but the social good or social impact it does is good, 100%. So, Martins, right? I don't know, but I just I just wish you guys all the best, right? At the SFX. I think you guys are really building something interesting, and everybody should look into this company or like what are these guys actually doing because manually with just WhatsApp group chat, they've done over $100,000 in transaction. And with what
Exactly.
they are doing out of UK right now, I think they're going to do a whole lot of that. They have over 112,000 students. They definitely don't have access to bank accounts, and they are working with universities. They have the connections. That is the reason why we started actually working with them at UK. They have the connection, they're talking to the customer directly and stuff like that. So I think it's something we are betting on at UK. We are really betting on SFX because we see the potential of what they are building. I just hope investor, I just pick interest, like talk to these guys. Anybody out there that interest to hear the story, can always reach out to them and kind of hear the real impact that stablecoins is doing. It is not about Twitter thread. So I'm talking about USDC and this. This is actually people's life have been affected by this, right? These people's life have been affected by this. So I wanted to kind of like maybe as we're rounding off, maybe share your vision for you mentioned something about being able to give them to what's it called? Being able to give them the opportunity to expand, custody their money, control their money, and experience again the joy of having a bank account. Because I really think that's what you guys are bringing to the
Yeah.
students in Turkey.
Yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit about the strategic vision. Sorry, what are you guys? What's the vision like for you, and how are you looking to support the financial needs of Africa and diaspora what other markets are you looking to expand to in the next few coming months, years, or whatever? Like, how are you guys looking at those things? And then we round off after that conversation. Over to you, man.
Yeah. So our main goal is to offer a 100% payments-based solution. In the sense, when I say a payments-based solution, on the SFX money for a African student living in Turkey or in the Turkish Republic of North Cyprus, one of the things or some of the things that have the biggest impact or influence their life: tuition, rent, daily expenditures like electricity, water, all these utilities and all that. Now, our goal is to offer them the capability to make those payments with ease. So the same experience that myself or an individual with a Turkish bank account who wants to pay for his electricity bill, you want to pay for your water, you just from your mobile device, you just make the payments directly to your bank. So SFX is partnering with a lot of local businesses in this region in order to offer those payments capabilities on our application, in order to ensure that they can also experience that same ease in order to make any array of payments they want to make. That is why local partnerships are very, very important for us. And then we also don't stop there. Our goal is actually to make sure that when we have provided, ensured, or showed that we have solved or we have provided a steady solution for these African students, to then focus on compliant African businesses in Turkey and in TRNC who are involved in business between Africa, importation, in trade finance, or in trade between Africa and Turkey and Africa, and also ensure that this business is also, because we didn't have the opportunity to dive into that. But I would also say this, that this problem that African students face here is also the same problem that Nigerian businesses and African businesses that do trade between Nigeria and Turkey, or Africa and Turkey, they also face this dollar access problem. And our goal is to onboard these businesses and offer them a comprehensive solution. So they too, like our students, they also do not have to encounter the same hurdles they go through in order to access FX. We would offer them a payments-based suite in where they, from the start to finish, they never have to worry that they need to find FX. At no point we are going to give them assurance, and we are always going to give them a consistent flow of FX just because of stable coins, basically.
Sorry, I was on mute. I was talking. I don't know I was on mute. That's actually very interesting to hear, right? Kind of becomes what it becomes, right? Getting something like SFX, and before you kind of finish, right? I think you talked about being a scientist. Like, then is that is the SFX experience? Is that what brought you into crypto?
Yeah. So I will no. Actually, it's not. What actually brought me into crypto, very, very interesting, was actually because I was talking about we had a debate in class. Actually, it was actually second semester. This is very funny, very surreal experience, and we were talking about how genes. We were talking about blockchain and crypto addresses and genes, and on how
What do you mean by
we
June?
basically what the building blocks of a cell, basically
I,
what
I, I,
makes
I
you
was just trying to make you like,
yeah
when you say jeans, right? Jeans. There's jean that we wear,
yeah
and
yeah
then there's
yeah
jean.
basically this the cell's building block, what makes you you, expression, everything that makes you Dennis and that makes me. We were saying something during the class that we believe that whoever was inspired by cryptocurrency must have been a geneticist at heart, because we looked at the patterns, the sequence. You look at the sequence of the genes, adenine, guanine, thymine. You see just a random sequence of A, G, T, and U in different combinations, expressing and making meaning and making sense. And for us, you look at blockchain addresses, you look at crypto addresses, you look at basically the entire foundation of crypto, and you just random numbers, random addresses, just strings. And these strings make meaning at one point. It's like there are receptors who they know that once they receive this, they express that. Once they don't receive this, they don't express that. And we just found it funny. We were just saying that basically that person had to be a geneticist at heart. He must have had his inspiration from basically genes and human genome.
That's how you got into crypto. That's crazy, actually.
Yeah.
That's really crazy to hear. That's crazy. Like, that's a very crazy. That's actually the craziest story I've ever heard from anybody. How they got into crypto. Like, what the fuck, Gene? Kids about Gene. Kids about Gene. And whatever. Gene. Kids about Gene. Whatever. Man, it's nice talking to you, brother. And
Yeah.
I think I appreciate the passion and the story, because I kind of like I kind of like unveils the journey of SFX and then the commitment you guys have to African students, and then kind of talks a little bit about the innovation you guys are doing. And basically, for me, it kind of reviews the problem with the current financial system. Okay, because some people had some fraud reports, and then you kind of see everybody.
Yeah,
And it
exactly.
needs almost,
You know,
it doesn't make any sense.
disenfranchise
So many people,
the whole
kind of
population.
something like, I
Yeah.
think we have very bad. Not I don't want to say bad people. We just have people who they need to do better. The
Yeah.
financial infrastructure needs to do better generally. We can't operate like this efficient generally. And I believe SFX is doing something massive, and people should show. How can people reach out to you guys? Like, what is the
Yeah. So
URL?
So yeah, you can actually reach out to us by visiting sfxchange.co. Just sfxchange.co. Every information is right there. My email, Martins, Martins, Martins Chidume, Chidume at sfxchange.co. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any Twitter page or LinkedIn or something?
Yeah. On LinkedIn, Martins Chidume, yeah, you would see a passionate scientist and also a passionate stablecoin lover. So I basically love stablecoins. So in cryptocurrency, if there's a group for stablecoins, I will basically be.
Haha. And the gene part, like, you know, the gene part or something. Yeah. Man, it's nice speaking with you. I hope you come back again. I think this is a very interesting conversation, and we're hoping to have this more down the road and into the future. I mean, it's nice talking to you. Cheers, and thank you everybody for listening. We are bringing this from. I'm recording today from Lagos, Nigeria. It's been a very interesting conversation, and I want to thank the audience, the listener, the team at Yuki, everybody that's making this possible. Shout out to everybody, my family, and every other person that is helping me. And also, I want to say Africa is the next big thing. And when it comes to Web3, we are the next big thing.
Yes.
And don't ever doubt it. This is not about speculation. This is about core use case.
Yes,
It's
core
about
use cases,
core
real
problems. It's about
solutions.
core solutions. If you're looking to bet anywhere, I bet you that Africa is what blockchain was meant for. And I end this podcast on that note, and I say thank you, Martins, and
All
thank
right,
you,
thank
everybody,
you.
and cheers. I'll see you guys next episode, which is probably going to be episode 6-7. We're going to be bringing in somebody from BitGifty to talk about how they're using gift card to onboard millions of people to crypto in Africa. Thanks, everybody, and have a nice one. Yeah, cheers.
All right, cheers.